Welcome back to Hazardous Endeavors.
Woo!
Yes, indeed, the Digital and Dice 5th Edition Actual Play podcast. I am your host, Mark, and I am DMing this game for our illustrious players. I am joined today by Elliot Frostmoon, played by Wizard James.
Senpai noticed me.
Yes, indeed. Lindo Espina, the beautiful Thorn, played by the Lady Crass.
It is me.
It is.
It is. It is still me.
Wilf Tradewind, played by voiceover guy Brian.
Always the best, as it is.
No.
And of course, Jaxom Shaw, played by sound guy Steven.
I got new greaves.
You did indeed.
Got new
And my
greaves in the can.
gloves are now shiny and silverish.
Indeed.
Shiny and chrome.
Where we last left our intrepid adventurers, you had made your way back into Anrilathan. You had gone up and returned the Abnormicus to its rightful place, although with a few caveats to its living conditions.
Per its request.
And you were informed that you needed to speak with the Triumvirate of Archmagi that run the city, at which point you were brought up to their chamber, as it were, and you had a discussion with the three Archmagi, specifically Archmagi, let's see, where's that? Celestara Mistborn, the tiefling, the elf Archmage Varanthas Filranan, and the Archmage Christopher Eldon, the youngest human ever to hold the office.
Yeah, that Mistborn lady certainly had some issues about personal bubbles and things.
She has
bad.
like a sticky kind of hot. You know, like it's sticky and you don't really want to touch it, but it's still hot.
Right. And they informed you a little bit of information you had not known before, namely that you are not the first to take up the mantle of the new Dawnguard.
Yeah, but so far we're the most effective. Oh, we're doomed.
You also found out some other great pieces of information, as in one of the artifacts that you are searching for is in possession of an ancient red dragon named Zermagdrian.
Yay.
That's for later us.
That's such good news. I
And-
mean,
Later us.
Mhm.
That is fantastic news.
And of course that the city-state of Anrilathan will not actually grant you the assistance you seek unless you are able to bring several other nations on board to the point where you can actually succeed at your mission rather than die violently like the previous ones.
I mean,
Hashtag goals.
Good squad goals.
eh.
Upon that, though, they did hand you a scroll that contains a writ that'll allow you to gain passage to where you are headed. Your options, of course, being making your way north to Artemisia, where you will, have to either locate the floating castle that you are looking for, the floating mountain, or, of course, making your way there through Kazdolatar, the dwarven citadel under the mountain, or making your way there by boat.
Citadel under the mountain.
but you are missing the most key piece of evidence that we got from the council, which is, in fact, that the person that Lindo and I burgled while we were on our magical beer adventure actually turned out to be himself a vile criminal, and thus our actions were just.
Agreed.
You were forgiven, which is about as much as you could have expected.
I'll take it.
Justified in our actions.
Forgiven.
So,
Tomato.
with
Tomato,
that,
tomato. Tomato, tomato.
There you
Potato.
go.
I think it is
Tomato.
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 Because
Tomato.
no one calls it a tomato.
What's a tomato?
I don't know. Like a tobacco.
Oh my goodness, you two.
Professor Anya Thistlethumb kind of gets you guys back down to the ground floor at the bottom of the tower and kind of stands off to the side and says, we're going to go see Professor Albright, one of the foremost experts on the history of the War of Ascension. But when you're done there, I would like to know where are you headed? What would you like to do?
Well, we've been speaking about Artemisia. I mean, we've got to get up there because they've got that flying citadel. Aside from the fact that there's apparently some sort of terrible dragon up there, but there's also this flying citadel. And that
Also, I
sounds-
do not want to fight a bunch of orcs.
That's a
Yeah,
problem. We do need to do some research here before we leave. We need to see if there's any information on the king's son. We were told to go to the library here. Not that I'm sure that would be helpful, but we're going to try it.
Okay. So let's go ahead and go talk to Professor Albright then, and we'll see if maybe that will sway you one way or the other.
Okay.
All right.
This way. And she starts leading you towards one of the platforms that rises up to other places in the tower. And you step on one in particular, rail around it that so you don't fall off. And it rises up about 3 floors on the wall that meets up with the university. You step off the platform onto the balcony on the inside of the tower and through a set of double doors into the university proper. Elliot, you've been here numerous times. You know the layout, and she's leading you towards one of the classrooms.
Mm-hmm.
And you make your way down this hallway. Mages of various different sizes, shapes, races, creeds, all of that are walking back and forth to and from different rooms, carrying stacks of books, paper, scrolls, chatting amongst themselves.
Now be careful, Lindo. Any one of them could explode with 0 provocation.
Wait, what?
No, they can't.
Yes, they can. They're wizards.
They just explode like pop?
That is sorcerers, not wizards.
Anya pipes up. Well, there are a few sorcerers here that have come to learn more about themselves, but the ones that have
How do you know them apart?
more explosive habits are usually kept under decent watch, as it were. We're perfectly safe.
Yes. Perfectly safe.
Everything's fine.
Perfectly safe.
Perfectly safe?
Yes.
Yes.
This is the safest magic college there is.
How many magic colleges are there?
Or all the other magic colleges smoking ruins currently?
Oh, look, we're here. As she stops in front of a classroom.
Wouldn't a psychologist be better equipped to help people find out more about themselves?
Not in their case. And she makes the motion, and she opens the door, and you find yourself at the top of an auditorium room, rows of seating tiered down to a desk in front of a chalkboard. And the seats are, there's probably about a quarter of the room spread out amongst all of the seats. And people are taking notes, and they're listening to this voice that fills the room. And currently, as you're walking in and filing towards the back, you hear this voice. And at first, you're not able to see where it's coming from. But Elliot, you immediately notice that on the desk at the bottom of these, right in front of the chalkboard, is a red velvet pillow with an old skull, a human skull, sitting on it. And the voice at current is droning on, saying, and you will find that if you turn to page 392 of Theramvac's Thaumaturgical Ascendancy, you will find that there's a treatise there about the transmutation aspects of chalk. And of course, if you then start researching further into that area, you will find some exciting information that might enhance your spellcasting. Please take note of how the chalk is used. They turn the chalk counterclockwise 17 times. 17 is a number that if you remember in Theramvac's Alternium...
Is there a fire alarm in here?
As Elliot is starting to kind of nod off, Lindo
no,
is...
it wasn't starting. It was the moment I heard his voice, it was like a lullaby of sleep.
Yeah, so Elliot has sat down and has passed out in the chair in the back row. Lindo is standing, staring off into the middle distance, a little bit of drool coming down the side of his face.
Head bubbles.
Anya's sitting there and just kind of smiling. She looks at Elliot, shrugs, looks at Lindo, somewhat concerned. No fire alarm.
That seems dangerous in a place where evocators learn how to do things.
Keep your voice down.
Seems terribly dangerous when people can throw fire around.
The whole time this droning has filled the room, And again, several people are just writing notes at rapt attention, but you do note that here and there, a couple of the people seem to be in the same state of repose that Elliot is in.
Arcana, is this a charm effect?
Go ahead and roll.
That is a 21 on Arcana.
It is not a charm.
Are
it is
you
literally
sure?
just the voice and the subject matter as it's continuing to drone on. And you're there for about 10 minutes. And it doesn't stop for breath. It just keeps going. And
I've got advantage on being knocked out by this.
yeah. Good for you.
Oh.
Uh-huh. So you're waiting, and it's really hard to pay attention. Jaxom, you're just kind of standing there.
I've had to deal with a few sermons like this in my time.
Okay, so you're kind of standing there like half attention, just like, okay. The subject matter is a little overboard, but and finally the voice says, and thus we will conclude our lesson for today. Thank you for coming in. Of course, if you wish to extend your reading, the library section 78 through 416 will have extended reading on this topic. I highly recommend that you look into it on your own time. I will see most of you tomorrow. Thank you for coming in. And suddenly there's this silence, punctuated by a snore here and there, as several of the students get up, gather their things, and start making their way out.
Is he done?
You can't do that to me.
A couple of them rustle their friends as they get up.
Literally, I think that just shaved years off of my life.
Yeah.
Your life or your life expectancy?
What did we learn?
Anya motions for you to follow her, and she starts hopping down the stairs towards the front.
I'll think that movement. Let's go.
And you get down there. At this moment, you notice a piece of chalk has been writing on the board behind the skull. It slowly floats down and sets itself into its little holder. The skull itself starts to float on its pillow and is making its way to a door on the side of the room. And Anya's like, Professor Albright, please, a moment. And the skull stops, turns back, floats back to the desk, and is hovering over it about 6 inches.
I thought we were done with the
Of
undead.
course. What can I do for you, Professor Thistlethumb?
I think it's for us. We've got a special request. We just were pointed to you by the Triumverate.
These must be the ones who brought you the shard, aren't they? Anya nods.
Elliot woke up the moment Professor Albright, or not Albright, Thistlethumb, spoke and runs down.
So nice of you to join us, young Frostmoon. It seems your habits have not changed over the years.
How are you floating? Look at you.
Magic.
My control over my magic is diminished over time, but it does seem to at least gain me limited control. Mage Hand is one of the few things I am able to still do.
Oh, man.
Helpful.
It is so hard to listen to you.
Very well. You are here about the shard.
Well, yes, and
What else do you need?
we were told that you know about the last time someone tried to take up the trappings of the Dawnguard.
I am aware of that as well, and the first Dawnguard that were around as well. When I was alive, there's a long pause.
No emotions. Black and white.
Kalendar walked the earth. The Dawnguard were strong. They caused many people to be rescued from the forces of Bane.
Well, I mean, if your ocular cavities are functional, you might notice and recognize some of the trappings thereof.
You seem to have acquired several pieces of the armor of Kalendar Brightblade. Interesting.
We've picked up a couple.
You are more than well on your way to not dying a terrible, painful death at their hands if you continue on this track.
Huzzah! I love not dying.
That was my goal.
Is your goal also to acquire pieces of the armor of Bane?
And sort of try to
Destroy.
destroy and or nullify / sink them to the bottom of some terrible ocean abyss.
Interesting.
Volcano, maybe.
Ooh,
There are
a
very few
volcano.
things that can accomplish this task. Although, and as Anya pulls out the shard that she was holding on for you, and she places it on the desk next to him. This particular artifact is proof that they are not indestructible. You are looking at a piece of the breastplate of the armor of Bane. As far as I am aware, the last known location was the mountains, the Anvil Peaks. I have been informed that an orc chieftain might be wearing this particular set. It is diminished, it is broken, but this piece contains a small, well, shall we say, echo of its former power. So you, yes, of course, if you are looking to destroy them, you can do so. Melting them, of course, would be your best bet, but it would require the hottest flame from the most powerful of beings to do so.
Oh, I think I saw
Why
one
don't we
of those
just
ones.
drop it into the elemental pane of fire?
Certain places there, of course, might be able to, yes, but your survivability there in your current
Good luck with
form
the
are
interjection.
limited at best, young Frostmoon,
What?
especially you.
What about the flame of, say, an ancient red dragon?
If you are speaking of the worm Zermagdrian, then, of course, yes, that could do it. If you were to convince them that it is in their best interest to do so, you would succeed at destroying it if you had it. Of course, that is, well, only part of the problem, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, I've heard that he's not particularly the kindest of customers.
You're shorter than the last one.
I certainly am shorter than many.
That may be to your advantage.
What are you, like a foot tall?
I mean,
I was once a man.
Uh-huh.
There was fighting. There was war. There was power beyond your mortal ken, and this was the result of, well, folly. But it has given me insight into the ages. Anya leans forward and says, There might have been a couple 100 years he was sitting in a box for a while before he got found. He may, not have some memory of the in-between.
That is unfortunate.
I was very attached to Reginald. My box was a safe home.
Is your box name Reginald?
Yes.
Oh.
I was found and brought here. And now I have tenure.
Okay, I think you have a little more than tenure, Like 100 year.
If you are searching for what you are, then I wish you luck. If you are intending to destroy the armor of Bane and stop the Second War of Ascension, then of course you will need the support of the gods. You will need the luck granted upon those of fortune, and you will of course need guile and courage to face the issues you will see in front of you. But at this juncture, what you will need is to make a choice.
And that's what the choices are, but I literally might fall asleep if you tell me to.
I think the choices are, where do we go next?
Yes, we seem to have 3 choices, don't we?
Eh.
But I suggest the closest one.
I think that our best bet is Artemisia.
I think our best bet is the Orc Chieftain. Between the 3, a floating island that I'm not sure how we're going to get on top of, even with our flight.
We're magic, and I can make Lindo fly.
And I can make Jaxom fly, yes. Actually, I can make 2 of us fly.
Anya says, Isn't the Orc Chieftain surrounded by thousands of orcs?
Yeah, we can't do anything about that.
Currently in fighting the, sources of Dariel and the Anvil Peaks?
I want to go on the ships.
Yeah, I would be much happier on the ships there. I think that going around to Artemisia would be the safest bet. Then, if we can get Artemisia behind us, we can go into the Anvil Peaks and talk to the dwarves, and then they've got allies on either side.
So you're suggesting to pincer the orcs?
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, I think that would be a marvelous thing to do, and that would relieve Marshal Donovan a great deal to actually get, an effective strategy going on.
He is very good at that, and we hopefully have the time. Hopefully.
There is a research ship that will be leaving from the port within the next few days. It is bound for an island off the coast, but it can bring you to Artemisia if that is where you wish to go when it has finished its research at the island it is headed towards, a set of ruins that were left there from the War of Ascension. Perhaps you might find answers there if you were to accompany them.
Ascension-era ruins do tend to be sort of all bread and butter.
It's true.
We have
might
bread
even
and butter?
find some
Yeah.
things there.
It was in the pocket.
Oh,
Pocket bread.
I'm not sure if I should eat pocket bread.
You should not eat pocket bread.
See, Elliot said no.
If that is what you wish, then I am informed that, of course, you have been handed a writ that will allow you passage on board the ship.
Hold on, I got it.
How did you... Okay.
Da-da-da-da!
How do you fit that in your pocket? Your pants are far too tight.
I received a message
That is
from the
For me to
Triumvirate
know, and for
Of
you
course.
to
informing
never
me
find
of
out.
your arrival. Not much happens in this school that I am
No. I have
unaware
no
of,
magic.
young Frostmoon. Not to mention
Not yet,
certain
but
events
ever.
that shall go
Sigh.
unmentioned.
Oh, you mean levitation?
We don't let that be spoken of, young Frostmoon, and you know very well why.
Oh.
I don't know why.
And thus it shall be kept secret from henceforth, was it decreed, young Frostmoon?
Yes.
Moving along. If you wish to, of course, board this ship, please let them know at the docks that you are intending to be along with them. And of course, anything else you need. Don't hesitate to ask. If you wish to attend any of my lectures, you are more than welcome to attend as far as I am concerned, although
sweet.
campus police may or may not allow you to be on board.
They're wonderful naps.
Young Frostmoon, there's plenty that you could have learned had you maintained focus during my lectures.
Yeah.
How's that even
I
possible?
certainly learned more about shock than I ever thought my brain could possibly
It is a
hold.
remarkable substance that can be used in many different situations and thaumaturgical practices.
I have to use the
If
bathroom.
you-
Where's the bathroom?
Anya.
I will take you.
Oh, yeah, Elliot just grabs Lindo's arm and starts running up the stairs.
Thank you!
Anya, oh, thank you, Professor. Yes, greatly appreciate your assistance and your information. I'm sure we will contact you again.
And Chalk, reagent of the future. We know it now.
Elliot, I never want to do that again.
Which one's worse?
Before the two of you are able to leave,
This
though,
professor or that gnome?
the shard that's on the desk actually shakes slightly and says, "If you
Definitely the
would be
professor.
so kind as to
Oh my
take
goodness.
this abomination away and never bring it back here again, unless you are requesting it be destroyed, in which case, again, don't bring it here."
I bring a piece of rope and I sort of noose it so I don't actually have to touch it.
Wait,
And
isn't
then
the
I go
sash
to
still
where
around it?
Lindo went.
Yeah, it's still wrapped in a sash.
Yeah,
Like that?
well, I'm still being cautious.
Okay, so you wrap a rope around it and kind of hang it up and start walking away with it.
Sort of like some sort of terrible little amulet.
And at that, he continues floating out of the room. The door opens. Little skull floats through it. Door closes. And Anya just, well, okay then.
We didn't actually go to the bathroom. We just walked around the corner.
Lindo, take this thing.
As you
Oh,
exit the
hey, my
classroom, and they're there.
stash! Oh, my stash is full of evil.
Well, hopefully he gets reunited with Reginald one day.
Right then. So the the ship
OTP.
that he mentioned, it's
Original the box, new
he wasn't
waifu.
wrong. There is a research ship that will be leaving from the port in 2 days' time. Anything you wish to do in town, I would recommend getting taken care of before you leave. But in the meantime,
I'm still so sleepy.
if there's anything you need, please let me know. I would recommend visiting your home and saying your goodbyes for now. The trip to Artemisia is long and can take quite a while, if the winds aren't favorable. So
Yeah.
you probably won't see us for a while.
It's true. I will. But I'm going to spend a couple hours in the library first.
Very well.
With...
You even
Miss-
say goodbye to your fathers.
Yes, I'm going to say goodbye to my fathers.
Okay, good, because they are great and I love them.
Why don't you go hang out with them, Mr. Lindo?
We were probably going to do a little bit of shopping, get the things that we were going to do. So while you've got your research,
Mr. Wilf,
yeah.
you and Lindo are banned from each other for a little bit.
What?
Oh, come on now.
It's
As
a like
Mr.
holy bedry. Look. La 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 la
La la la la la.
la 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 la.
Mr.
No, let's do
Jaxom,
it. No, watch what I
do you
do with
agree with
Jaxom.
my opinions?
Jaxom.
Yes, I agree.
Jaxom.
I
They
will
need some
take
time apart.
Mr. Wilf.
Jaxom.
You're gonna leave me with Lindo?
La 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 la.
You should have a nice
Nothing.
father-son trip, I guess.
Wait, what? I am definitely the father.
Yeah. No.
So
I mean, like, how old are you?
So as you guys gather your things and start making your way out, Elliot, you were headed to the university campus library with Lindo? Or
no, with Wilf.
With
I'm not
Wilf.
taking Lindo to a library. That will make things take longer.
Okay. So then Lindo and Jaxom, as you two are leaving the campus to make your way back into town, you walk through the gates and you're about to cross the bridge, and you see standing on the bridge Celestara Mistborn, standing there kind of looking off and into the distance, kind of seems admiring the view. And she turns and smiles. She walks over to you, and she walks up to you, Jaxom, and says, "Your god has touched you. Your god knows where you're going, and he knows where you've been. He knows where you come from, and yet doesn't shy away. You must feel lucky. But you know," and she taps the center of your breastplate, "those old memories are coming. Those of where you're from. Remember." And she reaches over and kind of puts her hand on Lindo's shoulder and then looks back at Jaxom and says, "I'm going to borrow this for a while. I will return it."
What?
And
Wait a minute.
both Lindo and her dissolve into mist, leaving you standing there on the bridge. Both of them are gone.
For the love of Palor.
And as the two of you make your way into the library to do some research, Jaxom, as you ponder your existence, as Lindo disappears in a puff of mist, that is where we will be ending for this episode. So thank you for joining us for another episode of Hazardous Endeavors.
You left me with Sticky?
And until next time,
Game on, internets!